After making my husband sleep in the garage on Christmas Eve, my father said something that I'll never forget. But let me back up. We'd driven 4 hours to my parents' house for the holiday. My husband Wesley had made one mistake. One tiny, reasonable mistake after working a 12-hour shift before our drive. He'd forgotten to pick up my mother's prescription. That's it. Not cheating, not gambling, just a forgotten errand. My mother had cried, actually sobbed like he'd personally insulted her. My father stood up from his chair, face red, and declared Wesley was disrespectful and ungrateful. For 30 minutes, they tag-teamed him about responsibility and family obligations. Wesley apologized 6 times. It wasn't enough. He can sleep in the garage tonight, my father announced. Maybe the cold will teach him to appreciate this family. I should have said no. Should have packed our bags and driven 4 hours home in the dark. Instead, I found myself nodding, agreeing. 28 years of conditioning doesn't just disappear because you say wedding vows. I handed my husband a blanket and pillow while he looked at me with confusion and hurt. The garage wasn't heated. This wasn't the first time my father had punished Wesley. When we'd announced our engagement, Dad made Wesley ask permission 3 times because he didn't like his tone the first 2. At our wedding, Dad gave a toast about how Wesley better treat me right or else. Everyone laughed. Wesley smiled through clenched teeth. My parents would show up unannounced to inspect our apartment, opening cabinets, checking our bedroom. I'd grown up watching my father control everything. Who my mother talked to, what she wore, how she spent money. She called it love, protection. I called it normal because I didn't know anything else. That night, I lay in my childhood bed while my husband spent the night in the garage. I could hear my parents laughing downstairs, watching their Christmas movie. I told myself we'd leave first thing in the morning, that I'd finally stand up to them. But when morning came, my father was already in the kitchen, making his famous cinnamon rolls, acting like everything was fine. Like my husband hadn't spent the night in the garage. Leaving would mean confrontation, making a scene, ruining Christmas. So, I stayed quiet. My father made Wesley eat breakfast in the garage, alone, while we had cinnamon rolls inside. After present opening, Dad finally called him in. Wesley walked through the door, still trying to smile. My father looked at him, then at me. Then he said it. You see what happens when you marry a man with no backbone? He takes it. No self-respect. He turned back to Wesley. My daughter deserves better than someone who will sleep in a garage just to avoid conflict. Something snapped. Maybe it was the hypocrisy. Maybe it was recognizing my mother's expression in the mirror that morning, the same defeated look she'd worn for 30 years. I stood up, took Wesley's hand, and said the only 3 words that mattered. We're leaving now. My father blocked the door. For 10 seconds, we just stared at each other. Then Wesley, quiet Wesley, who never caused problems, took my hand and led me toward the kitchen. We walked out the back door without our coats. We drove 4 hours home in silence. That afternoon, I called my parents and told them they weren't welcome in our lives until they could apologize. They never did. 5 Christmases have passed. My father still thinks he was teaching respect. I think he taught me something better, that my husband sleeping in a garage wasn't rock bottom. Letting it happen was.